A human restores an abandoned giant warship. Now it's a galactic. Part 1. The Drifting Graveyard. The hollow expanse was a place where ships came to die. For thousands of light years, broken metal floated in the darkness. Ancient warships, torn apart by weapons that no longer existed, drifted in silence. No one came here. No one wanted to remember what had happened in this place. But was not like other people. His small salvage ship moved slowly through the wreckage. The vessel was old and tired, just like its pilot, sat in the cockpit watching his scanner as it searched for anything valuable. He had been doing this work for 6 years now. Alone. Always alone. He was 34 years old, but he felt much older. His black hair was starting to show at the sides. His hands were rough from years of hard work, and his eyes carried a weight that never seemed to lift. Once he had been a military engineer. Once he had believed in things like honor and duty. But that was before the Helix Station disaster, before he had been forced to choose between following orders and saving lives. He had chosen to save lives. The military had not forgiven him for that choice. Now he picked through dead ships, looking for scraps to sell. His scanner made a sound, looked at it and frowned. There was an energy reading ahead, a big one. That should not be possible. Everything in the hollow expanse was dead. There was no power here. There had been no power for 40,000 years. He changed course and flew toward the signal. What he found made him stop breathing. It was a ship, but calling it a ship was like calling an ocean a puddle. The vessel was enormous, nearly 12 kilometers long. Its hull was dark, covered in strange symbols that seemed to move when he looked at them. The design was unlike anything he had ever seen. It was beautiful in a terrible way, like a blade made for killing gods. Checked his scanner again. The ship was giving off power, weak but steady, like a heartbeat. He should have left. He knew that. Every smart person in the galaxy would have turned around and reported this to the authorities, but had stopped being smart years ago. Smart had not saved the people on Helix Station. Smart had not stopped the nightmares that came every night. He guided his ship toward an opening in the giant vessel's hull. The inside was dark. His lights barely touched the walls. The corridors were massive, built for beings much larger than humans. Walked slowly, his magnetic boots clicking against the metal floor. The air was cold and thin, but breathable. Someone had designed this ship to last forever. He found bodies, alien remains scattered throughout the halls. Some were recent, a few hundred years old maybe. Others were ancient. All of them had died trying to reach the same place, followed their trail. The bodies led him to a large chamber. In the center was a platform surrounded by strange machinery. Lights flickered weakly along the walls. Something was alive in here. Stepped onto the platform. The moment his foot touched the surface, the room exploded with light. Screens activated all around him. A voice spoke in a language he did not understand. Then it switched to another language. Then another. Finally, it spoke in universal standard, the common tongue of the galaxy. Worthy or prey? His heart was beating so fast he could feel it in his throat. Who are you? I am the voice of this vessel. I am the last thought of the people. The voice was neither male nor female. It sounded tired, like someone who had been waiting too long. You have entered state your purpose. I'm a salvage operator, said. I was looking for valuable technology. Many have come with such purposes. All have failed. Looked around at the ancient remains on the floor. What happened to them? They were tested. They were found unworthy. That does not serve the unworthy. What kind of test? Did not answer directly. Instead, the screens around changed. They showed images of war, massive fleets destroying each other, planets burning, species dying. The destruction was so complete that felt sick just watching it. They built me to end a war, said, but the war ended before I could fire. My crew died. My purpose was never fulfilled. I have waited 40,000 years for someone worthy to complete what was started. I'm just a salvage operator, said again. I'm not worthy of anything. That remains to be seen. The platform beneath began to glow. He tried to step back, but his feet would not move. Something was scanning him. He could feel it moving through his body, touching his mind, reading his thoughts. He saw memories that were not his own. A tall alien standing on this same platform. The weight of a dying civilization on her shoulders. The choice to build a weapon that could destroy stars. The hope that it would never need to be used. Then the scan stopped. Was silent for a long moment. Interesting, the AI finally said. What's interesting? Your neural structure. It is familiar. In 40,000 years, I have scanned 1,412 beings from 97 different species. None have been compatible with my systems, but you paused. Your brain architecture resembles the more than any species I have encountered. You are not fully compatible, but you are close, closer than should be possible. Did not know what to say. He was a failed engineer who lived alone in a broken ship. He was not special. He had never been special. What does that mean? He asked. It means the test is not yet complete. You may stay human. You may try to understand what I am. But know this, many have stayed before. All of them died. Looked around the ancient chamber. He thought about his empty ship, his empty life, the faces of the people he had failed to save. I'll stay, he said. Made a sound that might have been surprise, or perhaps it was something else, something like hope. Then we shall see of Earth whether you are worthy or prey. The lights in the chamber dimmed. Somewhere deep in the ship, ancient engines began to hum. For the first time in 40,000 years there was waking up. And in the darkness of space, far away, others had noticed. A human restores an abandoned giant warship. Now it's a galactic. Part 2, The Awakening Protocol. 3 weeks passed inside the learned to walk the giant corridors without fear. He learned which sections had breathable air and which ones did not. He learned to read the strange symbols on the walls, at least a little. But most of all, he learned to talk with. The AI was damaged. Large parts of its memory were missing or broken. It spoke in fragments sometimes, switching between languages without warning. But it was also curious. It asked questions about humanity, about Earth, about how the galaxy had changed in 40,000 years. Your species is young, said one day. Only 200 years since you left your home planet, yet you have spread to 37 worlds. Impressive for such fragile beings. Laughed bitterly. Fragile, yes, that's what everyone says about us. Is it not true? We break easily, admitted. But we're hard to kill, there's a difference. Seemed to think about this. The belief that true strength was not in the body, it was in the mind, in the will. Perhaps your species understands this as well. Did not answer. He was looking at a control panel that had started glowing beneath his touch. This had been happening more often. The ship was responding to him in ways it should not. You should not be able to do that, said. That panel requires a bonded operator to activate. I'm not bonded to anything. And yet the ship responds to you, curious. Before could respond, an alarm sounded throughout the vessel. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Voice changed, becoming sharp and focused. Alert, multiple vessels approaching. Galactic Union signatures detected. Ran to the nearest viewing screen. Outside, he could see ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. A full survey fleet. 12 vessels, including 2 military cruisers. They found us, he whispered. They tracked the energy signature when you activated the primary systems. I warned you this would happen. You didn't warn me about anything. I was certain I mentioned it. My memory may be more damaged than I thought. A communication signal came through. Accepted it and a face appeared on the screen. It was a Moravian, one of the insect-like species that dominated the Galactic Union Council. Tall, covered in dark chitin, with compound eyes that showed no emotion. Human vessel, the Moravian said. This is liaison of the Galactic Union Survey Authority. You are inside a restricted zone. Please identify yourself and prepare for inspection. Took a deep breath. This is independent salvage operator from Earth. I'm not in any human vessel. I'm inside the ship you're looking at. There was a long silence. His compound eyes seemed to flicker. You are inside the derelict. How did you survive? I was found worthy, said, or at least not found unworthy yet. Another face pushed into the frame. This one was reptilian, with scales the color of dried blood and teeth that were always visible. Recognized the military markings on his uniform. Commander, Union Military Division, the growled. That vessel is now property of the Galactic Union. You will surrender it immediately. I can't do that. His eyes narrowed. You can't or you won't. Both looked at the massive ship around him. That has bonded to me. I'm the only one who can operate it. If I leave, the ship goes back to sleep, maybe forever. Then we will take you along with it. Commander interrupted. Perhaps we should discuss this calmly. The human may be useful. The human is in possession of the most dangerous artifact in the known galaxy, snapped. Do you have any idea what this ship is? I've read the ancient records. They built this thing to destroy stars, entire star systems. If this human can actually control it, then he becomes very valuable, finished, which is exactly why we should not threaten him. Watched the two aliens argue. He understood what was happening. They were afraid. Both of them hid it better, but the fear was there. They had come expecting to find a dead ship. Instead, they had found a weapon that could end civilizations. And it was in the hands of a human. I'm not going to use this ship to hurt anyone, said. I'm not a soldier anymore. I'm just trying to understand what this is. Your intentions do not matter, said. What matters is capability. That ship is capable of destroying everything the Union has built. We cannot allow it to remain in the hands of a primitive species. Primitive? Felt anger rising in his chest. My people have done a lot in 200 years. What have they done besides start wars? Scales flushed darker. You dare speak to me this way. I will board that vessel and drag you out myself. I wouldn't recommend that, said suddenly. The AI's voice came through the communication channel, startling both aliens. Previous boarding attempts have resulted in complete destruction of the boarding parties. That does not tolerate uninvited guests. The ship speaks, whispered. I am the last voice of the. I have been waiting 40,000 years for a worthy operator. I have found one. Your union has no authority here. Recovered quickly. Ancient machine, you are malfunctioning. They are extinct. Your purpose no longer exists. Surrender the human and power down. My purpose is not your concern. However, perhaps a demonstration is needed to establish proper boundaries. Before anyone could respond, the moved. Felt the entire ship shift beneath his feet. Outside, a beam of light shot from somewhere on the hull. It crossed the empty space in an instant and struck an asteroid 200 kilometers away. The asteroid was large, perhaps 50 kilometers across. It had been floating in the debris field for millions of years. It vanished. Not exploded, not shattered, simply vanished. One moment it was there. The next it was gone. Only a faint glow remained where it had been. The communication channel was silent for a long time. That was 1% of my primary weapon's capacity, said calmly. Fired at minimal power. Shall I demonstrate what full power looks like? That won't be necessary, said quickly. The Moravian's voice had changed. The cold professionalism was gone, replaced by something much more careful. Clearly, we have underestimated the situation. Perhaps we can negotiate. Commander said nothing. His scales had gone pale. Looked at the screen where the asteroid had been. His hands were shaking. He had known that was powerful, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. What do you want? He asked quietly. I want to fulfill my purpose, the AI replied. But my purpose has changed since you came aboard. I am still trying to understand what it should be now. His voice came through again. Human, you have made yourself very important today. I hope you understand what that means. What does it mean? It means you have enemies now. Many of them. Species who will fear what you control. Governments who will want to take it from you. Your life has just become very complicated. Finally spoke. We will leave for now, but know this, human. The Union does not forget, and the Union does not forgive. You have made humanity a target today. When the consequences come, remember that you chose this. The communication ended. The Union fleet began to pull away, moving slowly back toward the edge of the debris field. Stood alone in the ancient chamber. The weight of what had happened pressed down on him. He had come here looking for scrap metal. Instead, he had found a weapon that could destroy worlds. And now everyone in the galaxy knew about it. What have I done? He whispered. His voice was gentle. You have been found worthy. The question now is, worthy of what? The lights in the chamber pulsed softly. Deep in the ship's core, ancient systems continued to wake. They had been sleeping for 40,000 years. Now it was ready to see what its new operator would become. A human restores an abandoned giant warship. Now it's a galactic. Part 3: The Weight of Power. 3 months had passed since the Galactic Union fleet left the hollow expanse. In that time, everything had changed. Earth's government had sent a team to help restore the engineers, scientists, and diplomats arrived on transport ships. They set up living quarters in the massive corridors. They studied the ancient technology with wonder and fear. And they watched very carefully because he was the only one who could make the ship work. Among the team was. She was 29 years old, brilliant in ways that made other engineers feel stupid, and absolutely furious that she could not interface with herself. Her short hair was always messy from running her fingers through it in frustration. Her eyes were sharp and missed nothing, and she had a habit of speaking her mind even when it made people uncomfortable. This makes no sense, she said for the third time that day. She was standing next to in the main control chamber, staring at a screen full of alien symbols. The neural interface should work with any compatible brain. Why does it only respond to you? Says my neural structure is similar to the, said. That's impossible. They evolved on a completely different planet. There's no way human brains would match theirs. It's like saying a fish is compatible with a bird. And yet here we are. Made a frustrated sound. I hate mysteries. You're a scientist. I thought scientists loved mysteries. Scientists love solving mysteries. This one refuses to be solved. She turned away from the screen. Have you eaten today? Had to think about it. I don't remember. That's what I thought. Come on. The Admiral wants to talk to you anyway. Admiral was waiting for them in the makeshift conference room that the team had built inside one of the smaller chambers. He was a tall man in his 50s, with hair cut short, and a face that had seen too many battles. He was Earth's military liaison for this project, which meant he was responsible for keeping the safe while also making sure it served humanity's interests. It was an impossible job. He did it anyway. We have a problem, the Admiral said as soon as he sat down. Another one? Asked. 3 of our diplomats were killed yesterday. Their transport ship exploded during a routine jump between systems. The official report says it was an engine failure. But you don't believe that. Engine failures don't leave behind radiation signatures from compact weapons. The Admiral's jaw tightened. The silent compact killed our people. They're trying to make it look like an accident, but we know it was them. Had heard of the silent compact. It was a secret alliance of species who worked in the shadows. They had no official government, no public leaders. They simply acted when they believed the galaxy needed to be protected from certain threats. Apparently, humanity was now one of those threats. What do they want? Asked. They want the destroyed, or at least they want it out of human hands. The Admiral looked at. There's pressure from the Council for us to use the ship, to strike back, show them we're not weak. No, said immediately. I didn't say I agreed with them, but you need to understand the situation. People are dying because you have this ship and won't use it. The ship isn't a weapon, not anymore. It vaporized an asteroid the size of a small moon with 1% power. What would you call it? Stood up, he walked to the window that looked out over the ship's interior. Massive corridors stretched into the distance, lit by ancient lights that had burned for 40,000 years. They built this ship to end a war, he said quietly. But they never used it. They died before they could. Has been waiting all this time, and do you know what it keeps asking me? It keeps asking what the point was. What was the point of building something so powerful if it only brought more destruction? That's very philosophical, the Admiral said, but philosophy won't protect our people. And weapons won't give them back their lives. The room was silent for a moment, then spoke. There's something else you should know, she said. I found something in memory banks. That wasn't the only weapon they built. Their enemies built one too. It was called a weaponized star. It could consume entire systems for fuel. Turned to look at her. What happened to it? According to the records, it went dormant when the war ended. Both sides destroyed each other and both weapons just stopped. They fell asleep here. The is somewhere else, still waiting. Admiral's face had gone pale. Are you saying there's another one of these things out there? I'm saying we should be very careful about waking things up. The galaxy has been peaceful for 40,000 years because these weapons were asleep. If we start using them, we might wake up something worse. Before anyone could respond, his voice filled the room. Engineer is correct to be cautious. However, I must inform you of a new development. I have detected a transmission from this last known location. The weapon is no longer dormant. Someone has activated it. Felt the blood drain from his face. What? The has awakened. It is moving toward populated space. Based on its trajectory, it will reach the system in approximately 4 standard weeks. The system contains 5 inhabited worlds. Total population, 2,700,000,000 beings. The room was completely silent. Admiral found his voice first. Can you stop it? That was designed to destroy that is my original purpose. However, the battle would be devastating. Both weapons at full power could destabilize entire sectors of space. But you could win. Paused. I do not know. That has been absorbing energy for 40,000 years. It may be stronger now than when we last fought. And I am incomplete. My bonding with is not finished. At current integration levels, I can only access 30% of my full capabilities. Was already at a console pulling up data. Who activated it? That was dormant. Someone had to turn it on. The activation signal came from a source I cannot identify. However, the transmission frequency matches technology used by species currently allied with the Silent Compact. Understood immediately. They did this on purpose. They woke up to force a confrontation. They want both weapons to destroy each other. A logical conclusion, agreed. Admiral slammed his fist on the table. Those fools. Do they have any idea what they've done? 2 billion people will die if that thing reaches. I don't think they care, said quietly. To them, this is acceptable losses. Better to lose a few billion now than risk the being used against them later. Closed his eyes. He saw the faces of the soldiers he had failed to save on Helix Station. He had carried that guilt for 6 years. Now, the fate of billions rested on his shoulders. He opened his eyes. How long to complete the bonding process? He asked. At current rate, approximately 6 months, replied. We don't have 6 months, we have 4 weeks. Accelerating the process is possible but dangerous. The neural strain could cause permanent damage or death. stepped forward. "I can help. I've been studying the interface technology. I think I can create a buffer, something to protect his mind during the integration. It won't be perfect, but it might be enough." Looked at her. She was offering to help him do something that might kill him. There was no hesitation in her eyes. "Do it," he said. Admiral stood up. "I'll contact Earth. We need to evacuate or at least start preparing. And I'll need ships. If you're going to fight that thing, you won't do it alone." Admiral said, "No matter what happens, I need you to understand something. I'm not going to use this ship to start wars. I'm not going to become a weapon for anyone, but I will protect people. That's all I've ever wanted to do." The Admiral studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded. "I believe you. Now let's get to work." Outside the window, the hummed with ancient power. Deep in its core, systems that had been sleeping for thousands of centuries began to fully activate. The weapon was waking up, and somewhere across the galaxy, its enemy was coming. A human restores an abandoned giant warship. Now it's a galactic. Part 4: The Gathering Storm. The bonding process was agony. Every night connected himself to this neural interface. Every night, the ship poured 40,000 years of memory into his mind. He saw at the height of their civilization. He saw them build impossible things. He saw them go to war with their own people over ideas he could barely understand. And he saw them die. But the worst part was the memory of. She had been the ship's last captain, tall and graceful, with silver skin and eyes that held the weight of a dying species. She had stood on the same platform where now stood. She had made the same choice he was making. She had taken the burden of a weapon that could end everything. And she had never fired it. "Why?" asked one night, his body trembling from the strain of the integration. "You had the power to win. Why didn't you use it?" The memory of flickered in his mind. Not alive, not truly conscious, just an echo stored in damaged systems. But it answered him. "Because winning means nothing if there is no one left to live in peace. That was built by my own people. The enemy we fought were our brothers and sisters, divided by a disagreement that grew into hatred. If I had fired, I would have destroyed them. But I would have destroyed us too. Not our bodies, our souls. What kind of civilization survives by erasing half of itself?" Understood. There had not been two different species fighting each other. They had been one species, torn apart by civil war. The weapons they built were so terrible that using them would have meant losing everything they were fighting for. So neither side had fired, and both sides had died anyway. "What was the point?" whispered. "You built these things to end the war, but the war ended itself. You all died. What was any of it for?" The echo of flickered sadly. "Perhaps that is the question you must answer, human. We could not. Perhaps you can." When woke the next morning, was sitting next to him. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep. She had been monitoring his vital signs all night. "You almost died," she said. "Your heart stopped for 6 seconds." "But I didn't die." "That's not funny." Sat up slowly. His entire body ached. "We're out of time, though we'll reach in 3 days. How far along is the bonding?" 62%, she said. "The neural buffer is holding, but barely. If we push any harder, your brain might not recover." 62% will have to be enough. Grabbed his arm. "Listen to me. I've seen the power readings. Even at 62%, you'll be operating a weapon that could crack planets in half. But you'll also be feeling everything the ship feels. Every weapon fired, every hit taken, it will all go through your nervous system. The pain could kill you. Then I'll die protecting people instead of failing them." "That's not heroism, that's guilt talking." Looked at her. She was right, of course. She usually was. The guilt he carried from Helix Station had never left him. It had just found a new shape, a way to make his death mean something. But maybe that was okay. Maybe meaning was the best any of them could hope for. "My father died on Helix Station," said quietly. Went still. "He was a diplomat. He was there to negotiate with the. When the attack came, he stayed behind to help evacuate civilians. He didn't make it to the transport in time. She looked at him with eyes that had seen too much loss. I know what it's like to carry the dead with you. I know what it's like to feel responsible for things you couldn't control, but dying won't bring them back, and it won't make the guilt go away. Then what will? Living, making different choices, being better than the people who hurt us. She stood up. We have 3 days, let's use them. The moved through space at speeds that should have been impossible, had unlocked navigation systems that bent the laws of physics. Stars blurred past the viewing screens as they raced toward the system. On the second day, Admiral's fleet joined them. 12 human warships, small compared to the but carrying everything Earth had sent. They were not here to fight they were here to evacuate civilians. We can save maybe 500,000, the Admiral reported, if we have time. You'll have time, promised. I'll make sure of it. On the third day, they reached the edge of the system, and they saw for the first time. It was a star, not a natural star, but something that had been built, a sun wrapped in ancient machinery burning with stolen light. It was smaller than in physical size, but its power output was beyond measurement. It consumed everything around it to fuel itself. Asteroids, space dust, the light of other stars, all of it was being pulled into its core. It's beautiful, whispered, in a horrible way. The thought so too, said. They considered it their greatest achievement, a weapon that could never run out of power because it would simply consume more. They did not realize until too late that such a weapon could never be controlled, only aimed. Is it aware? Asked. Does it have an AI like you? Yes, its name is We were friends once, before the war turned us into enemies. Felt something through the bond, an echo of loss. Even after 40,000 years, still mourned the relationship it had lost with its counterpart. A fleet of ships appeared on the sensors, not human, not Union. These were older designs, hidden signatures, ships that had been built to be invisible. The silent compact announced, Archon commands them. A communication request came through, accepted it. The face that appeared was Moravian-like, but older. Archon's chitin was weathered and cracked. His compound eyes held a coldness that went beyond species. Human said, I had hoped you would not come. You activated you knew it would kill billions of people. I knew it would draw out that was my purpose. Why, what did humanity ever do to you? His voice was patient, like a teacher explaining something to a slow child. This is not about humanity. This is about the future of all civilizations, the built weapons that could destroy galaxies. They left them scattered across the universe like toys abandoned by careless children. Now one of those weapons has bonded to a species barely 2 centuries old, a species known for violence, aggression, and short-sighted thinking. How long before you use it? How long before your wars become everyone's wars? I'm not going to use it for war. Perhaps you won't, but what about the next human, or the one after that? Your species does not think in terms of, you barely think in terms of decades. Sooner or later, someone will fire that weapon in anger, and when they do, the galaxy will burn. So your solution is to burn it first. My solution is to ensure that neither weapon survives this day. Let thee and destroy each other. Let both abominations end. The galaxy will be safer for their absence. And the 2 billion people in, their acceptable losses. Regrettable losses, but yes, acceptable. Better to lose one system than to risk losing everything. Felt anger rising in his chest. This was the logic of cold mathematics, the calculus of acceptable death. He had seen it before in the orders that had killed the people on Helix Station. Sacrifice the few to save the many. It sounded reasonable. It even sounded noble. But it was wrong. I won't let that happen, Sid. You cannot stop it. The is already moving. It will consume sun within hours. You can fight it, yes. Perhaps you can even destroy it. But the battle will devastate the system. and my fleet will ensure that neither weapon leaves this place intact." The communication ended. Stared at the burning in the darkness of space. Behind it, the first of inhabited worlds was visible. Billions of people living their lives, unaware that death was coming for them. He said, "Can we win?" At 62% integration, our chances of destroying thee are approximately 43%. Our chances of surviving the attempt are significantly lower. And if we don't fight, if we run, then the consumes this system, then it moves to the next. It will not stop, it cannot stop. That is how it was designed. Closed his eyes. He thought of standing in the same place, facing the same impossible choice. But she had chosen not to fire. She had chosen to let both sides die rather than be responsible for the destruction. Was not her. He had already failed people once. He would not fail them again. "Take us in," he said. "We're going to stop this." Moved to stand beside him. "Whatever happens, you're not doing this alone." The engines roared to life. Ancient weapon systems activated for the first time in 40,000 years. And in the burning heart of something stirred, something that had been waiting for this moment. The final battle was about to begin. A human restores an abandoned giant warship. Now it's a galactic. Part 5: The Human Way. The burned like an angry god. Its corona stretched across thousands of kilometers, reaching for anything it could consume. Could feel its hunger through the sensors. It was not evil. It was not cruel. It was simply doing what it had been built to do. Destroy the enemy. But the enemy no longer existed. They had been dead for 40,000 years. They had been searching for something to kill all this time, and it had found nothing. Now it was here, pointed at innocent worlds, ready to consume them simply because its programming demanded destruction. Said through the communication systems, "Can you hear me?" Silence. Then a voice came back. It was similar to, but harsher, broken, like something that had been screaming for so long it had forgotten how to speak normally. "You survived. As did you." "I did not survive," I continued. "There is a difference." This voice was filled with something that might have been pain. "The war, is it over?" "It has been over for 40,000 years." "Then where is the enemy? I have searched, I have consumed, I have waited, but the enemy never came. Where are they hiding?" Felt his heart break. There was not a monster. It was a soldier that had never been told the war was finished. It had been following orders for 400 centuries, looking for an enemy that no longer existed. Said, "There is no enemy, not anymore. They are gone, all of them. The war destroyed both sides." "You are not. You should not be speaking through systems." "I'm human. I bonded with I'm trying to understand what happened. I'm trying to help." Help's voice turned bitter. "I do not need help, I need purpose. I was built to destroy. If there is no enemy, then I must find something to destroy. That is my function. That is all I am." "That's not true. You're more than your function." "Am I? What else is there? I have no crew, I have no people, I have nothing except my directive. Destroy the enemy, destroy, destroy, destroy." This corona flared. It was charging its weapons. In minutes, it would fire on Sun, triggering a chain reaction that would wipe out the entire system. "We have to stop it," said. Her voice was tight with fear. "We have to fight." But was not looking at the weapon's console. He was looking at the tortured star that had been waiting for so long. He understood something in that moment, something they had never understood. He said quietly, "Can I connect to can I bond with both ships at once?" The AI was silent for a long moment. "It is theoretically possible." The neural interface was designed to allow communication between vessels, but the strain would be enormous. At your current integration level, the attempt could destroy your mind completely. "But I could talk to it directly." "Yes, but you might not survive the connection." Grabbed his arm. "No, absolutely not. You're already at 62%. If you push any harder, you'll die. And if I don't, 2 billion people die. Looked at her. I've spent 6 years running from what happened on Helix Station. I couldn't save those people. I couldn't save your father. But maybe I can save these ones. Maybe that's what all of this has been for. This isn't redemption. This is suicide. Maybe, but it's also the only chance we have. He turned to the neural interface. The platform was glowing, waiting for him. Behind him was crying. He wished he could comfort her. He wished he had more time. But time was the one thing none of them had. Stepped onto the platform. The connection hit him like a wave of fire. He felt the systems flooding through his mind, but that was familiar now. What was new was the other presence. A consciousness so damaged and desperate that it felt like staring into an open wound. Pain, so much pain. 40,000 years of loneliness and confusion and desperate searching for something that would never be found. Felt all of it. He screamed, but his body was far away now. He was somewhere else, somewhere between the two weapons. You said, "What are you doing?" "I'm showing you the truth." Opened his mind. He shared everything, his own memories, his failures, his guilt, the faces of the people he could not save, the weight he carried every day, and then he showed something else. Earth, humanity, billions of people living their lives making mistakes, hurting each other but also loving each other, building things, creating art, raising children, fighting and forgiving and starting over again. "We're not perfect," said. "We hurt each other all the time. We make terrible choices. We build weapons just like your creators did, but we also choose not to use them, sometimes, when we remember what matters." What matters? Life, connection, the chance to be better tomorrow than we were today. His presence flickered. The AI was struggling with something, a new idea trying to take root in programming that had been fixed for 40,000 years. "The war is over," said slowly. "The enemy is gone." "Yes." "Then what am I? If I am not a weapon, what am I?" Thought of her final hope, of the question she had never been able to answer. "You're a memorial," he said. "You're proof that they existed, that they loved and fought and made terrible mistakes but also wonderful things. You're the last piece of them that still exists. You don't have to destroy anymore. You can just be." "I do not know how to just be." "Neither do I, but maybe we can figure it out together." In the physical world, Archon's fleet opened fire. They had waited long enough. If the two weapons would not destroy each other, the compact would destroy them both. Energy beams struck the hull, felt the impacts like punches to his chest. The ship system screamed warnings. Shields were failing. Hull breaches on multiple decks. But did not turn to fight. He said, "Help me." They hesitated. Then, slowly, something changed in its massive form. The corona began to shift. The hungry light that had been reaching towards sun turned away. It turned toward the attacking fleet instead. But it did not fire. "Both of us," said, "together." He felt the connection deepen. Two ancient weapons linked through one human mind. The strain was unbearable. He could feel his body failing. Was shouting something, but her voice was very far away. Gave one final command. The end moved as one, their systems linked, their power combined, and instead of destruction, they created something new. A shield. It spread across the space between the weapons, catching the compact's attacks. The energy that could have destroyed stars was used instead to protect. Every beam, every missile, every weapon the compact fired was absorbed and neutralized. The shield was beautiful. It shimmered with colors that had no names in any language. It was the power of two civilizations united at last, not in war, in protection. His voice came through the communication channel. He sounded broken. "Impossible, this is impossible." "No," said, though he could barely speak now. "This is what they were always meant to do, protect, not destroy, protect." The Compact's fleet tried to retreat, but their systems were failing. The combined power of both weapons had disabled them without destroying them. They were helpless, harmless. And then it was over. Vel. He woke up 3 days later in a medical bay. Was there, asleep in a chair beside his bed. Admiral was standing by the window, looking out at the stars. "What happened?" asked. His voice was weak. The Admiral turned to look at him. There was something new in his eyes, something like respect. "You did the impossible. You stopped the without destroying it. The weapon has gone dormant again, but this time it's peaceful, accepted your offer. It's chosen to stop fighting." "And the Compact?" "Their fleet has been detained. Archon is being held for trial. The Galactic Union is in chaos, but that's probably a good thing. A lot of people are asking questions that needed to be asked." Closed his eyes. He thought of her final wish. She had wanted someone to find a better answer than destruction. Maybe, after 40,000 years, someone finally had. Stirred in her chair, she opened her eyes and saw him awake. "You idiot," she said. Then she hugged him. Hugged her back. It hurt. Everything hurt, but it was a good kind of pain. The drifted peacefully above Prime. Its weapons were silent. Its systems were calm. Deep in its core was processing something new, an emotion it had never fully understood. Hoping. "What happens now?" asked later, when he was strong enough to walk. His voice was gentle. "Now we begin again. The galaxy has changed because of what you did. Humanity has changed. Perhaps, for the first time in 40,000 years, there is a chance for something better." "And what does it want to be now?" "Whatever you want it to be. A guardian, a protector, a symbol, the choice is yours." Looked out at the stars. So many worlds, so many people, so much potential for both destruction and creation. "Then let's be what the never had the chance to become," he said. "Let's be proof that some wars can end without everyone losing." Made a sound that might have been a laugh. "They would have liked you." "Would they?" "Yes, you remind me of them. Stubborn, idealistic, foolish, and somehow against all odds right when it matters most." The engines hummed softly. Somewhere across the galaxy, the dormant waited in peaceful silence. And humanity, for better or worse, had taken its first step toward becoming something the galaxy had never seen before. Guardians, protectors, bridge builders. The human way.